Well, here we are for Transmission Series Day 5. And if you have been sticking around, if you have been here since the beginning, thank you. I have so much gratitude. Also, we have so much more to go. This new series on the narrative advantage is my commitment to showing up every single day on this feed, which wherever you're listening to this, that counts. So the YouTube channel and or the podcast, which you can find on Spotify and Apple and all the places. I've committed to showing up every single day for October 2025 to see what kind of movement I can activate within myself and within my community and within my business. I am terrified. I was going to say scared. I'm scared. I'm scarified. I am energized. I am loving this new commitment. And to be honest, there's this feeling of freedom. If you're watching this on the YouTube right now, you will see I am like fully decked out, ready to go for my morning run. The sun has not yet risen, so I'm okay to do the podcast and then run, at least once the sun cracks over the horizon. I have no makeup on. I've just brushed my teeth. I'm drinking my coffee. I'm eating my oatmeal. This is just me showing up in my purest energy. I haven't spoken to a single human being yet today, except for you. This is my magic that I am sharing, and it is lighting me up. And I today, what I feel called to talk about on this transmission series, which is where we get to feel into the energetic layers beneath the concepts of marketing and communication and business that we don't often get a chance to talk about. And you know, because when you're in business, and I had this conversation with a friend and colleague last week, it does not matter what business you are in. It really doesn't matter what industry you are in. The one common thread among all of them is the need to be able to communicate effectively. And being in communications and media my entire life, and then growing businesses for my entire entrepreneurship life and working with hundreds of entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, creators, CEOs, and leaders through my time as a consultant, I have seen over and over and over again these, I'm going to call them the blocks beneath the blocks that continue to hold people back. A theme that has come up in the last 5 days is this concept of binding, right? So you will show up in a course or a program. Maybe you're on a retreat. Maybe you've hired a new specialist in your business to help you solve the problem you think you have, right? I'll give you a great example. I was having another conversation with a colleague who actually does some work for us at Story Studio Network, and she's brilliant. Like, she's one of the most brilliant people I've ever met. She sees things in ways that I don't see, and I love and appreciate that. She's like, I have invested thousands of dollars in all of these programs that teach me the how of the surface level problem I'm having. So I'll give, I don't know what, for example, how to properly format a website, how to structure a sales funnel so that it works, how to write, and these are all just random examples, how to write an email welcome sequence that converts from a freebie to a sale every single time. Spoiler, that would never happen. If somebody tells you that, that's a lie. But anyway, she's like, I've invested thousands and thousands of dollars in all of this. And yet, she says there's always this and yet. And yet, even though my rational brain understands what I'm being told to do most of the time, unless it's a very complicated or nuanced strategy that shouldn't be sold as a evergreen strategy at all. She says, and yet I still can't get over something to do the thing. And so I have no word for that. I'm sure psychologists have words for this, but in my experience, my word for that is that, well, you've hit the block beneath the block because you thought the block was the how. You thought the block was the if only I just had the answer to this one question then. But really, the block is this other thing that is below that, and it is internal to you. And so this is also why I launched Story Somatics as one of my first kind of forays back into digital offerings for a long time. I hadn't done something in over 3 years. It's available for you on the website, by the way. It's $127. And all of my products, by the way, are priced in Canadian dollars. So if you are in the US, that's like a 43% discount. And if you're in Canada, it's a pleasant surprise because most people price things in USD. No. This is CAD for you. And it is 14 deep dive audios. So if you like listening to this, you'll probably adore Story Somatics because it's all audio. But what it's designed to do is it's designed to identify the block at the business level, the block at the level of the reality plane, the manifestation block. This is how this block looks in your business or in your life. And then it's designed to give you a somatic tool, a simple one that can be done at your desk, walking the dog, whatever, to help you connect with the block beneath the block. And I've structured it around the chakra system because that was actually the easiest way for me to structure it. Because I find, when I started to really dig into my yoga teacher training and learn about energetics and where some of these blocks actually live in the body, it was the easiest way for me to structure the program, to be honest. I'm not like going all in on being like a chakra specialist, but for the sake of that one program, it really, really worked. So anyway, that was a tangent. What I wanted to express to you, two things. If you want Story Somatics, it's there for you. I actually think it's linked in the show notes. But anyway, and there's always this block beneath the block. And so that's what this whole series is about. I think this is what this is becoming. We are excavating, unraveling, getting to the block beneath the block. And something today that has occurred to me is this concept of, and I actually wrote it down I have this little kind of thought bubble notebook that is not for anything but thought bubbles. And sometimes they mean nothing to me the next day. And sometimes I come back and I'm like, oh my God, that's brilliant. So the thought bubble is that this identity of almost is the safe space for us. The identity of almost making it, of almost having it feel exactly the way we want it to feel. This identity of almost having the abundance we want. This identity of almost feeling worthy of more. This identity of almost going all in. What is that? Why are we so comfortable sitting in this rut of almost? And it's because we are terrified to go to the block beneath the block. We think we can keep putting a salve on all of our fears, our lack of motion, our addiction to inertia, our fear of showing up in business authentically and in our highest power. We think we can keep putting an easy fix-it tactical salve on that. And that's why you spend thousands of dollars on programs and you're like, cool, my brain understands that, but my body does not. So nope, not going to happen. Or you end up in a cycle of self-sabotage, right? I know you know what I'm talking about because the exact same thing has happened to me over and over again. And in fact, it's happened to me at like the highest degree because at a certain point, I got so far in my own head that I stopped thinking that the salve was even programs. And I started thinking that the salve was making bad hires in my business. One other thing I really think we should talk about over the next few weeks is forgiveness. Forgiveness for that. Because in order to get over the almost identity, you have to forgive yourself for having had it in the first place. So my question to you today is, where are you sitting in the safety of almost? Where are you accepting that block as immovable? Where are you accepting this identity that really doesn't match? And you know it. It doesn't match with what's happening in the core center of you. And what would happen if you just got still enough or loud enough, depending on who you are, to blast through that and say, no, 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 no. I am not going to live my life in a state of almost as a safety mechanism. I heard a really interesting quote that I kind of want to leave us on today. And I heard it a few months ago. I was at a gathering of women in Halifax. It was a lovely evening, summer. It was beautiful. And we were listening to a keynote speaker. And she said to the entire room, there was an audible gasp when she said it. She said, the only difference between a rut and a grave is the depth of the hole. That is the price of living an almost. That is the price of not going one layer deeper and asking yourself why you are letting that safety identity be your identity. I'm going to go for a run now. As always, I appreciate your shares. I appreciate your feedback. I will be back tomorrow, and we will see what we will talk about. Thanks so much for listening. Until then.